Hey everyone, Jake here for American Muscle, and in this video we're taking a look at the Alpharex Nova Series LED projector headlights with black housings and clear lenses, fitting 2015 to 2023 Chargers equipped with factory halogen headlights. If you're after an upgrade to your Charger's lighting and you want a more sinister appearance, look no further than the Nova Series lights here from Alpharex. These are going to provide you with a big update to your lighting output and a unique appearance that keeps things a little more OEM plus than other options. Updating your headlights is one of the easiest ways to make a big impact on the driving experience of your car. And if they can make a positive impact on style too, all the better. Such is the case here with the Nova Series LED projectors from Alpharex. There's a lot to talk about here, but I want to start with some of the styling elements. You'd almost be forgiven for thinking that these might have been a factory option on the Charger because they just work really well with the styling on the car. The front end of that car is already pretty aggressive, and these just give the car a kind of nice sinister glare. And that's the descriptor I keep coming back to, sinister. The LED strips that run along the outer edges here really add to that. Now these are going to function as your daytime running lights, and they can be switched to run as either amber or white, depending on which you prefer. These are also going to function as your turn signals, and they are sequential turn signals, which adds no functional benefit, but it's just a little extra thing for a cool factor. These also feature what they call an activation light, which is just a sequential light show that's going to happen when you lock or unlock the car, again adding to that OEM type of feel and look. However, that's all just fluff compared to the actual projectors themselves. Now, like the DRL strips, these are also fully LED. You get 4 IceCube 3D projectors which utilize Osram Olsen black flat LED chips for the low beams and Alpharex's own Lux LEDs for the high beams. So these are going to give you a really bright output with a clean, sharp cutoff. They're quite a bit brighter than even factory projectors, so they're going to be a noticeable difference in lighting output and performance, making it easier for you to see and be seen when you're out on the road. Construction here is all pretty first rate as well. The housings are made from your typical polypropylene with a polycarbonate lens over top. Now these lenses also have an anti-fog agent and another coating on the outside to keep them clear in all conditions and help prevent fading and yellowing. Now inside, again, these are going to feature the Osram Olsen black flat LED chips and the Alpharex Lux LED chips for superior light output and longevity. And since these are all LED, they're going to have a nice long lifespan, so you don't have to worry about changing out bulbs. Now these also do have integrated adjusters, and that means that they have everything they need to meet all DOT, SAE, and FMV SS 108 standards, making them fully street legal. Good lights rarely come cheap, and that is of course the case here. These are going to run you about $1,600 for the pair, which is of course not a drop in the bucket, and it does put them towards the top of the segment. But I think the quality, style, and output here really speak for themselves. So if you want a lot of output and a cool look that's pretty much OEM adjacent, these are going to be a great choice for you. Now installation is going to get a 1 out of 3 on our difficulty meter, and the job should only take you about an hour to complete. Now as you might expect, this is a mostly plug and play operation. You do have to run a little bit of wiring, but it's really just a fuse tap plus some power and some ground. Otherwise, it's just a matter of plugging things in. It's also worth noting that in order to access the lights, you do need to pull the front bumper cover off, which is really not that difficult to do, just gonna take you some time. All that said, let's head on out to the shop and we'll walk you through the steps to get these installed on your own Charger.
Tools required for this install include a ratchet, a clip remover tool, an extension, 10mm wrench, a flathead screwdriver, 7 and 8mm sockets, and a 10mm swivel socket.
What's up guys? Today we're installing a set of headlights on our Charger, so let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is pop our hood and start up top. We've got a bunch of push clips holding in this radiator cover, so grab yourself a clip remover tool and pop these all out. Next we can come to where our fender meets our bumper, and we have a 10mm bolt. Just grab a 10mm socket, remove this bolt, and do the same thing on the other side. Next we can come underneath of our bumper and remove the 6 7mm screws that are holding our bumper in. Now we're missing one over here, so I'm going to start here and work my way across. So grab yourself a 7mm socket, pop these out. Next we can come to our wheel well. You're gonna take your wheel and turn it in as much as you can get it. And then we have 2 clips down here, clip here, and a clip up here that we're gonna remove. And then we'll turn the wheel the other way and hop underneath the car to get a couple bolts and a couple more clips. So for now, grab your clip remover tool to pop all these clips out. So now I turn the wheel outward and we have these 2 clips at the bottom here, as well as these 3 7mm bolts that we have to remove. And then grab your 7mm socket for your 3 bolts. And then you can go ahead and pull down on the splash guard so that you can get your fender liner to pop out. Pull it towards the middle of the car. And then we can go up, disconnect our electrical connectors, and remove our 2 bolts. So now we can peel back our fender liner, and that's gonna give us access to the connector for our fog light, as well as the connector for our side marker. Now the side marker, you're just gonna press in on the tab and wiggle that connector off. Just like that. That's the tab on the other side. And then for our fog light, we have a red locking tab. So I'm just gonna get a flathead screwdriver to make it a little easier. Pop that tab out. And then once you pulled that red tab back, you can press in on the black tab and wiggle your connector off. And that's the red locking tab that you have to slide backwards. So next comes the fun part of removing the 2 bolts that hold our fender to our bumper. Now there's one right about here, and there's one farther back around here. So you're either gonna need a 10mm wrench and a lot of patience, or you can grab a 10mm swivel socket like I'm gonna do. That'll make this front one a little bit easier. The inner one is gonna be a pain, but it is doable. So grab that 10mm swivel socket, get that onto your bolt. And then the other one you're gonna have to do by feel. So just kind of jam your ratchet up in there. Find your bolt, get that socket on there. And then you can just go in by hand and get that the rest of the way out. And then repeat that same process for the other side. So now we're ready to remove our front bumper. I grabbed myself a buddy just to make this a little bit easier. You're gonna pull the bumper straight back to dislodge it from the fender, and then we can maneuver it the rest of the way off. So now that the hard part's out of the way, we can take an 8mm socket to remove the 2 bolts at the bottom of our headlight and the 2 at the top. And then just get a hand under it before you remove your last one. And then you can slide your headlight forward off those posts. Flip it over, push in the tab on the connector, wiggle that off, and do the same thing on the other side. Now before we install our new headlights, one important thing to note is you do have the option to switch between white or amber daytime running light strips. You're gonna do that from this box right here. We have 4 Phillips head screws holding it in. We'll pop it off, and then there's a connector that's disconnected from the factory. With it disconnected, that's gonna be for your whites. If you connect it up, that's gonna be for amber. So I'll pop that off, show you how to do it. We're gonna install it with whites, but we'll show you how to make that change. So now you can grab a Phillips head screwdriver and remove all 4 of these screws. And then with those removed, you can pop this out. I'll turn to the side. We have these 2 connectors right here. Like I said before, with it disconnected, it's going to be the white. And then if you connect these two halves together, just like that, that'll make them amber. So like I said, we're going to stick with white for demonstration purposes. So I'm going to disconnect that again, shove my wires back in there, and then take my screwdriver and thread those screws back in. And then if you do make that change, repeat the same thing for the other headlight. So now grab your new headlight, connect that one connector there, and then slide this into place. At the top, you want to get it over those two posts, and then we can start threading our bolts in. And then grab that 8mm socket and tighten these down. And then do that same thing on the other side. So now we're ready to throw our front bumper back on. So I grabbed my buddy again. This is gonna help a lot with lining it up on both sides and sliding it on. So now with our bumper back on, we can take our bolt that's in the corner connecting our fender to our bumper. Just thread that in. And then grab your 10mm socket to tighten this down and do the same thing on the other side. Now we can reinstall all of our push clips across the top. So now we can reinstall those 6 screws across the bottom of our bumper. Now our plastic's cracked on our splash guard on this hole, so we don't have anywhere to put a U-clip or a bolt there. So we're not going there, but we have the rest of the 5. So we'll thread these all into the U-clips and then take a 7mm socket to tighten it all down. So now we can come back to our wheel well. The first thing we're going to do is plug in the connector for our side marker as well as our fog light. So grab your side marker connector. Just going to go right in here. Press it until it clicks. Then you can find your fog light connector. You're going to have to press this in until it clicks and then push this red locking tab down to lock it into place. So now we can reinstall those 2 bolts. There's going to be one here and one right about here that hold our bumper to our fender. Now I'm going to get the inner one first before I even thread in the outer one. That way I'm not dodging around things trying to tighten that down. Peel that fender liner back. Feel around to find your hole and then get that thread started. And then grab a 10mm swivel socket, get your ratchet all the way up in there, feel around for that bolt, and then you can tighten it down. And then slide your ratchet out, grab your outer bolt, and thread that in. And then get your socket on there and tighten that down. And then pull your ratchet out tuck your fender liner back up under your fender, and then we can get all of our fender liner hardware in. And now we can get our fender liner clipped into our bumper. We've got to get the bumper lip inside of here. So just go ahead and angle it a little bit and shove it into place. And then we're going to start on this clip, this clip, this clip, and this clip while we have our wheel turned inward, and then we'll turn it out and get all the ones on the inside. So now on the inside, we'll start out with those 3 7mm screws. And then we also have these 2 clips here. And then grab your 7mm socket and tighten down those screws. And now we'll just go back up top and get those last 2 clips. And then repeat that whole process on the other side. So that'll wrap up this review and install of the Alforex Nova Series LED projector headlights with black housing and clear lens for your 2015 and newer Charger with factory halogen headlights. Thank you for watching, and for all things Charger, keep it right here at AmericanMuscle.com.